The man who said no and saved the world. What if you were in the room where the fate of the world was decided? Not a conference hall, not a presidential office, but a dark, cramped submarine deep under the ocean. In 1962, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, the world stood on the brink of destruction, and the person who stopped it was not a president, not a general, not a famous leader. It was a man most people had never heard of. His name was Vasili Arkhipov. The day the world came closest to nuclear war. October 1962. The United States discovered Soviet nuclear missiles in Cuba. The response was a naval blockade. On the surface, diplomacy continued. But beneath the ocean, the situation was far more dangerous. A Soviet submarine, B-59, was surrounded by U.S. Navy ships. The American forces dropped depth charges. They were meant as warning signals. But inside the submarine, there was no way to know that. Communication with Moscow was lost. The temperature inside the submarine was unbearable. Oxygen was running low. The crew believed one thing: war might have already begun. 2. A nuclear torpedo below the surface. On board B-59 was a single nuclear torpedo. If it were launched, the nearby U.S. fleet would be destroyed, and the response would be immediate. This would trigger nuclear escalation, a full-scale nuclear war. The submarine's captain believed they were under attack. The political officer agreed. From their perspective, firing the torpedo felt justified. According to protocol, a nuclear launch required agreement from 3 senior officers. 2 had already said yes. Only one man stood in the way. 3. The man who refused. That man was Vasili Arkhipov. Arkhipov did not believe they had enough information. He argued that there was no confirmed order, no proof that war had officially started. Launching a nuclear weapon based on assumptions, he said, was unacceptable. The pressure was immense. The submarine could be destroyed at any moment. Fear filled the room. But Arkhipov refused to agree. He said no. And because of that single decision, the torpedo was never launched. The submarine eventually surfaced. Only later did they learn the truth. The depth charges were not an attack. They were warnings. 4. One decision away from annihilation. Historians now agree on one thing. If Arkhipov had said yes, even for a moment, the Cuban Missile Crisis would not have ended peacefully. The United States would have retaliated, the Soviet Union would have responded, and the world would have entered a nuclear war. At that moment, humanity came closer to self-destruction than ever before, and it was stopped by a single refusal. 5. An unsung hero. Yet Arkhipov did not become a hero that day. The incident remained classified for decades. There were no medals, no headlines, no public recognition. Arkhipov lived a quiet life and died without knowing the full impact of his decision. Only years later did the world learn the truth. That one man, in silence, had prevented global catastrophe. He was the definition of an unsung hero. 6. What this story really tells us. History is often told through famous names and powerful leaders. But sometimes, history turns on a single moment, a single choice, a single person willing to stand alone. Vasili Arkhipov did not try to be a hero. He did not seek glory. He simply believed that launching a nuclear weapon was wrong, and that belief changed the course of the world.